Have you ever experienced the exhilarating yet challenging adventure of moving into a new place with friends? It all began when I was 18, and two of my buddies and I decided to share an apartment. Juggling regular jobs and online school, we managed to make ends meet, making the rent easily affordable. However, life has a way of throwing curveballs, and over the following year, one friend moved out, leaving just two of us to foot the bill. Despite the financial setback, we adapted, but soon enough, my other friend departed as well. Forced to find a new living arrangement on my own, I embarked on a journey constrained by my modest paychecks. Options were limited within my budget, and I was willing to settle for anything that provided a roof over my head. Eventually, I stumbled upon a listing for an apartment on the other side of town. The pictures revealed a small building with only 8 rooms, and while the interior wasn't exactly glamorous, the price aligned with my financial constraints. Intrigued, I submitted a request to tour the place and later that night, met the owner, Jackson. As Jackson walked me through the room, I couldn't help but notice its small size and lackluster appearance. Despite its shortcomings, I had few alternatives within my budget and decided to take the plunge. The following week, I moved in, and as I adjusted to my new surroundings, I discovered that the place wasn't as bad as it initially seemed. Sure, it wasn't the epitome of cleanliness, and the aging aesthetics were evident, but it provided the basic necessities. Yet, amidst the mundane routine, one aspect of the apartment felt peculiar: the door in the hallway. Positioned across from my room, it appeared to be just another bedroom door. During the tour, Jackson mentioned that my unit was connected to the neighbors, and we shared this particular door. Always locked from both sides, Jackson assured me I could treat it as a mere wall. Nevertheless, a lingering sense of unease persisted. Could my neighbors hear every sound through that thin door? Did I unwittingly intrude on their privacy? For the first week or so, I heard nothing from the other side, not a whisper, not a creak. It wasn't until one night, after working late, that the tranquility was disrupted. A loud thud echoed from the hallway, prompting me to investigate. As I approached, I noticed a flicker of light beneath the door, akin to a phone flashlight. Curiosity got the better of me, and I listened intently, eager to unravel the mystery of my unseen neighbors. Yet, the light vanished, and silence reigned once more. What were they doing behind that door? The thin barrier hinted at the potential transmission of sound. I couldn't shake the feeling of being observed, yet my neighbors remained enigmatic shadows. As nights passed, the thuds and soft footsteps continued, shrouded in secrecy. It became a routine, the mysterious nocturnal activities on the other side of the door. Then, one night, everything changed. A deafening thud jolted me awake, louder than any before. Instinctively, I sat up in bed, eyes fixed on the closed door across the room. Something about that sound was different, unsettling. Should I investigate? The need to know overwhelmed me. Slowly, I approached the door, cautiously opening it to reveal an unexpected sight. The neighboring door stood ajar. Panic and confusion gripped me. What lay beyond this mysterious entrance? Tentatively, I ventured into the hallway, peering into the partially open room. To my surprise, it was empty, a small, bare bedroom with nothing but a mattress on the floor. No other doorways, no escape routes, just a solitary room connected to my apartment. Bewilderment consumed me. Who occupied this space, and why was it concealed behind a locked door? Fearful and uncertain, I reached for my phone, dialing 911 as I scrutinized every corner of my apartment. Whoever had been in that mysterious room was gone. The police arrived, conducting their investigation, but the owner, Jackson, remained elusive. It soon became apparent that Jackson might not be who he claimed to be. Days turned into weeks, and Jackson never resurfaced. The room remained an enigma, leaving me with unanswered questions. Was Jackson the occupant of that hidden space, or was it someone else? Did they flee, prompting the strange sounds in the dead of night? To this day, the true story behind that peculiar room remains a puzzle, an unresolved chapter in my life, shrouded in mystery and unanswered questions. Have you ever found yourself in a situation that transforms the familiar into the unsettling? It happened to me when I was 19, just a year ago. As an only child, I had spent my entire life in the same house, nestled in an average neighborhood. However, after finishing high school, my parents decided to uproot us and relocate to a new place a few hours away, a town less city-like and more surrounded by land. The house we moved into was drastically different. It still technically belonged to a neighborhood, but each house was secluded by acres of forest, offering a sense of solitude I had never known. A couple of weeks after settling in, my parents embarked on their yearly business trip, leaving me alone in our new abode. While I was old enough to handle it, the eerie sensation of solitude in an unfamiliar place lingered. Summer days stretched ahead of me with no school to attend, leaving me to pass the time at home. The initial day crept by as I tried to entertain myself with online content, but by the second day, I found myself drawn outside to the porch. It was there that I spotted a man standing by the street, close to the entrance of our driveway. The vast expanse of our driveway separated him from our house, but he was unmistakably watching me. Tentatively, I waved, expecting a neighborly response. Instead, he averted his gaze and vanished into the trees. Odd, but I dismissed it. As night fell on the second day, a peculiar incident unfolded. Having exhausted my entertainment options, I had resorted to video games and a frozen meal for dinner. Late into the night, around 1 or 2 a.m., I climbed upstairs to bed. Sleep eluded me, and as I lay with closed eyes, an unsettling realization dawned. I heard footsteps downstairs. The sound of someone stepping onto the porch outside echoed through the silence. My senses heightened. I listened as the front door creaked open, followed by the slow, stealthy footsteps traversing the downstairs. Fear gripped me as I locked my bedroom door and concealed myself in the corner of the room. The intruder moved with eerie silence, navigating the lower floor undetected. A long minute of silence ensued, shattered only by the creaking of the staircase and the unsettling proximity of the steps. My heart raced as I watched a shadow move beneath my bedroom door, halting just outside. Terrified, I waited, breath caught in my throat. The intruder lingered for what felt like an eternity, perhaps listening for any signs of occupancy. Eventually, they moved away, making their way down the hall and ascending the stairs toward the master bedroom. The shadow passed my door again, and the footsteps retreated down the stairs at an accelerated pace. Panic and confusion overwhelmed me as the front door clicked shut, leaving the house in an eerie silence once more. I remained motionless in my room, fearing it might be a trap, that the intruder was lurking within, waiting for any sign of life. After an agonizing half-hour, I summoned the courage to leave my room. Descending the stairs, I found the front door wide open, the intruder gone without a trace. Panicked, I dialed the police and my parents, but their arrival yielded few answers. The intruder's method of unlocking the front door remained a mystery. Locks were changed, a chain bolt added, yet questions lingered. Was the person I saw earlier the same intruder? Their intentions remained unknown. My parents speculated that the intruder, upon finding the master bedroom door closed, might have assumed someone was home, abandoning whatever sinister plans they harbored. The true motives of the intruder remain a haunting enigma, buried in the shadows of that unsettling night. Have you ever found yourself in a new place, faced with unsettling discoveries that turn the ordinary into a nightmarish ordeal? This was my reality a year ago, at the onset of winter, when work demanded a significant change of location. The circumstances left me with no choice but to move several states over to a small town I had never set foot in. The town, situated a decent distance outside the city, boasted a large warehouse, the place I would be working. With no opportunity to visit beforehand, I had to rent a place sight unseen. The options were limited in this small town, and my confidence in the choice wavered. Nevertheless, as I left my hometown and drove 2 days to the new location, I attempted to keep my hopes up. However, upon reaching the town and navigating its roads, a palpable sense of unease washed over me. A city person at heart, I felt out of place in the quaint, small-town setting. The neighborhoods comprised mostly of aged, 1900-style homes, with only a few newer houses scattered around. My place, situated in a neighborhood with a mix of old and somewhat newer homes, didn't escape the peculiar atmosphere. Parking on the side of the street, I walked up the driveway, noticing a shipping container in the middle, a delivery of all my belongings. Armed with a house key from an envelope, I unlocked the front door, stepping into an empty house. Judging a house solely by its emptiness is seldom reliable, but this place appeared worse than anticipated. Cracks marred the walls, and water stains adorned the ceiling, elements mysteriously absent from the pictures. The rooms were cramped, but considering the alternatives in town, this one seemed relatively better. After inspecting the rooms, I returned to my car, extracting an air mattress and a couple of backpacks filled with essentials. Late as it was, I opted to set up the air mattress in the living room. The idea of sleeping in an empty bedroom made me uneasy. Lights off, I lay down, struggling to find comfort. Around 30 minutes later, a knock at the front door shattered the silence, jolting me upright. Glancing at my phone, it read 1 a.m. No one should be knocking this late. Stealthily, I approached the door, peering through the peephole to see 2 men standing on the porch. Darkened features obscured their identities. I observed in silence, waiting for them to leave. Unrelenting, they knocked again, raising questions about their motives at such an hour. After 30 seconds, one turned and walked away, followed by the other. Once they disappeared, I settled back on the mattress, attempting to decipher their purpose. Exhaustion overcame me, and I drifted into a restless sleep. Awaking half an hour later, I was greeted by a subtle creak echoing through the house. Half asleep, I stumbled to the room at the far end where the sound originated. Initially, everything seemed normal, an empty room. However, my unease intensified when I noticed a small gap in the window frame. My stomach dropped as I closed and locked it, unsure if it had been left that way or if I had overlooked it earlier. My mind raced as I checked all the windows and doors, discovering a single scuffed shoe print in the middle of the hallway. A call to the police confirmed the chilling reality, a likely break-in through the window that night. The intruders, one or two, had traversed the entire house, reaching the upstairs while I slept in the middle of an empty room. The horrifying questions lingered. What were their intentions, and did it connect to the two men I had seen just half an hour before? To this day, I reside in the same house, haunted by the memories of that first unsettling night, yet thankful for the absence of further strange encounters.